Have a quick look down, just check the inside of your feet are parallel and your feet are hip width apart. Referring to hip width, we consider the hip joint, which is halfway between the thigh. So looking down from there. Just a quick check into those 6 points of contact, knuckle of the big toe, knuckle of the little toe, and the heel on both feet. And just have a sense of sending energy down through your feet and grounding in. Breath in, breath out. Traveling up to the pelvis. You can place your hands on top of the pelvis as you feel you may need. Keep your hands by your side. From here, we're going to go through the movements available at the pelvis and feel them in our own body. So let's start with some tilting forwards and back. So we can use that bowl of water as an analogy, tipping the water back or tipping the water forwards. Tipping the water back, tipping the water forwards. Go for a few of those. Just notice how this feels. Move within comfort. Just having a sense of the legs remaining straight. Find where you feel you're in the mid position. Now let's look at the movements available at the pelvis from the front on. So bending one knee, let that knee bend and let the pelvis lower on that side. Remaining high at the top, coming back up and changing. Use your screen to see what happens to your torso. Do you find you're leaning across? Can you remain stacked as we move up and down? Again, there should be comfort within comfort only. And just take a moment, if you're doing this, to just feel the front and back of your pelvis. Have you tilted forward to allow this movement? Can you keep your pelvis mid position from a side-on perspective as you're doing this movement? Just observe how that feels. Coming back, pelvis in its mid place. Now we're going to have a little bit of fun with shifting the pelvis. So imagine you've got a typewriter and the carriage piece, or for the younger pops, your Tinder swipe, and we're going to send the pelvis away. The rib will counter that movement and then coming back. So for some, when you first do this, you might notice a little bit of a catch through the back. Move less into that movement. For others, you'll start to experience that lateral side of your hip loading up, starting to ask these muscles to lengthen to support. Just go to where you feel comfortable, and again, just have a sense of that pelvis remaining in the mid position from a side-on perspective, so you're not falling into an anterior tilt to allow more movement. Good. Coming back to center, finding that space again. Breathing in, breathing out, traveling, let that breath travel up from your pelvis all the way to the top of your head. Helium balloon up through the top, lengthen through the collarbones, smiling collarbones. Rib cage softens down, melting chocolate through. Breathing in through your nose, filling the space between your lungs. Breathing out through your nose. Breathing in through your nose, take a pause and try and extend that breath out through your nose for as long as is comfortable. Pausing there, breathing in through your nose, pause for a moment, and then breathing out slowly through your nose. Out through your mouth if your nose is blocked for any reason, absolutely fine. From here, imagine someone has a band around your waist. You're going to just come back as if you're sitting in a chair. Let your pelvis come back, knees will travel slightly forward and coming up again. So just that initiation as if you're coming down into a chair and then coming back. Check in on your feet. 3 points of contact remain, but as you come back a little bit more into the heels, and as you come up a little bit more where your shoelaces would be. Down into the heels, up into the shoelaces. Down into the heels, up into the shoelaces. Going within what is comfortable, not going into pain. Now we're going to come into that down spot, so where you feel you can have knees bent, hips bent, holding this position, feet connected, float your arms up in front of you, breathing in to prepare. As you breathe out, you're going to separate your arms away from each other, and then returning, breath in, breath out as they pass down the bottom. Have a moment to check. Have you let your ribs lift to accommodate the range? Can you imagine there's a string or spring between your rib and your pelvis, and just connecting through the front. From here, if you wish, you can add in a rotation as you look over your shoulder, keeping that mini squat in place, keeping that pelvis fixed. Coming forwards and back. Keep on moving through there. Wonderful. Let your arms float and let your knees straighten, hips straighten. Taking your feet wide now. You're going to bend your left knee as you the inside of your feet are parallel. Bend your left knee as you travel your weight over your left ankle. Hand goes onto your pelvis of that left side, and you reach that right arm up and over, keeping that right foot grounded and anchor away. Coming back and coming up. Over to the other side, bending that knee, reaching that arm up and over. Big reach. Coming back and up. Turning the feet out to the side now. Same movement, travel that knee forward over the left foot. Reach that right arm up and over. Let your right foot drive into the ground as you reach your fingertips up and over. Breath in, breath out. Return to the other side, knee forwards, reaching up, reaching over. Feeling that stretch through your side. Coming back, coming up. Inside of the feet come to parallel. Bending your left knee across. Arms floating up like a T. Breath in, breath out. Take your right hand towards your left foot, rotating around, and then back up. Over to the other side. Bend your right knee. Take your left hand towards your left foot, rotating up like a windmill with your right arm up towards the sky. Coming back up, one more on each side. If this is uncomfortable for you, you can just do the rotations with the arms or just the rotations with the legs. Okay, wonderful. Take a step to the end of the mat. Just check that your cushion is close by. We're going to take a step forwards, and then we're going to bend the knees and come down into a split kneeling position. Pop the cushion underneath the knee. Have a sense of being stacked through your pelvis, your rib, and your head. Helium balloon top of the head. Bowl of water where the pelvis is. Tip that water out towards the back leg. Feel that stretch through the front of the thigh of the bent knee behind. Float the arm up of that bent knee behind side and reach the opposite hand down. Breath in here, breath out, and continue to reach. If you wish, you can look to your raised hand. If you're more comfy, eyes forward on the horizon. Breath in here, tuck and reach. And then release and lower. Switching sides. One foot comes up, one foot comes down. Cushion under the knee. Tucking the tailbone under. Feel that tip of water towards the back. Float that same side arm up, or the opposite arm from before. Reach the other arm down. Gaze up if you wish. Breath in. Tucking the tailbone, pubic bone to belly button. Breath out. lower, and come back down. Switching sides, back to the original 90-90 position. This time just step that foot that's in front forward by 1 foot measure. Tuck the tailbone under, pubic bone to belly button, travel that knee forwards, keeping yourself stacked on top. Floating your arms up, take the hand that's opposite to the knee forward. Apologies. Take your hand that's the same side of the knee forward, bring that to your breastbone. Breath in, breath out, looking over your shoulder as you come around. Open that hand out. Breath in, breath out, coming back, coming forward, looking forward. And again this time, except the eyes will stay forward. So hand onto the breastbone. Let that rib cage open out as your hands open forward. Keeping your eyes forward now. Reach your fingertips away. Breath in, breath out, hand comes back. Hand comes forwards. Both hands are forward in front. Lower down, coming back. Change sides. If you are feeling discomfort at any point in the low back, you can always come back so pelvis is stacked on top, and remember to re-invite that tuck pubic bone towards belly button. Bring that foot 1 foot in front of the other, tuck tailbone under, pubic bone to belly button, tipping water out the front. Let your pelvis travel forward. From here, breath in, breath out, float your arms up. Hand at the same side of the bent leg comes to your breastbone. Breath in, breath out, use your hand on your breastbone to open up, looking over your shoulder. Open out your hand behind you. Breath in, breath out, big reach. Hand back to breastbone, back to looking forward. This time eyes stay forwards, breathing in, breathing out, hands to breastbone, opening up, opening hand up. Tuck tailbone, ensure you feel that stretch through the front. Breath in, breath out, return hand forward, hands to your side, coming back into that split kneeling position, hands by your side. From here, coming to a high kneeling position, and bring your hands down into 4-point kneel. Take a moment just to check your position here. So a couple of tilts of the pelvis, a couple of lifts and lowers of the ribs, a couple of shoulder movements up and down, a couple of really tiny small nods, keeping the head long. Imagine there's a piece of string between your head and your pelvis, and you're lengthening that area away. Connecting through your torso, have a sense of that area, creating some alignment as you then come to move opposite arm and opposite leg. Breathing in to prepare. As you breathe out, slide your right hand and right foot away from each other. Keep them in contact with the mat. Breath in, breath out, and return. Same onto the other side. Breathing in, breathing out, reach, keep in contact. Have a sense of the challenge happening between your torso and your limbs, of wanting one to move with the other, but you're going to aim to keep your torso still to support the arm movement. Alternating through the slide and the reach. Even up on both sides, and this time if you feel comfy you can reach away and add in the lift of opposite arm, opposite leg. Coming up and then lowering back down. Opposite arm, opposite leg, coming up and then coming back down. Move through that, keeping that length and reach through your limbs. Even up on both sides. Breathing in, breathing out. We're going to push back through our hands as we send our pelvis back into a child's pose. Breath in here. Breath out. Just relax into that. Feel the back. Breath in, breath out. Returning into 4-point kneel. Tuck the toes under. Then come into pull prone prep. Breathing in to prepare. As you breathe out, you're going to connect through your torso as you lift your knees 1 millimeter off the mat, aiming to keep that pelvis still. Breath in here, breathing out, lower down. Stay with this if you wish, if this is your comfortable place. Otherwise, come with me. We're going to have a little bit of fun with this, looking at adding in some movements through our upper and lower limbs. So breathing in to prepare. As you breathe out, lifting up the knee 1 millimeter off. From here, take your right hand, tap it to your left and return. Take your left hand, tap it to your right and return. Maintain that 4-point position with the knees lifted. From here, take your hand to your right hand to your left knee and return. Your left hand to your right knee and return. From here, you're going to lift the pelvis up, take your right hand to your left foot, return back to that lifted knee 4-point position. And now take your left hand to your right foot and come back down. Lower the knees, have a moment, drop back into child's pose, into a break. There's a little bit to keep up on that one. If you want, for the next one, you can just have some hand taps or knee taps, just challenging that torso a little bit more. So coming back up from your child's pose, into the 4-point kneel. Toes are tucked, breathing in, breathing out, lifting up the knees. If you're happy just to stay with a hand touch and a knee touch, that's fine. This time you're going to reach, if you want to come with me, you're going to reach one hand forwards and back, and the other hand forwards and back. From there, you're going to lift your pelvis, take your hands to opposite foot, and back down, opposite hand, opposite foot, and back down. Hold, 3, 2, 1, and down. Coming back into child's pose. Take a breath here. From here, coming back up into all fours, grab your cushion and coming to lying on your side. We're going to come into a modified version of the side leg lift, but I'm just going to give you the first 2 versions, the lower levels, for those that feel more comfortable here. So the first part will just be the clam, level 1, with your heel together. And then the second part, which I will cue, which will be the adductor lift, which is top leg over and lower leg lifting. So this is where I'll invite you to be if at any point you feel that the next exercise is getting too strong for you. Particularly if you have any neck issues, these are the 2 exercises that I'm going to invite you to do. So it'll be the clam, and then it's the adductor lift, the very subtle lift of the lower leg with the top leg bent over. So keep the cushion there if that's where you want to be, or have it close by if you need. Everyone else, if you're happy to come with me, we're going to come up onto our forearm, elbow bent. Check that the shoulder is on top of the elbow, and just have your knees bent, hips bent, knees bent. I would say just shy of 90 at the hip. This is going to be where we lift up onto. We're going to push down into the lower leg. So let's just practice that now. For those of you that try this and then don't like it, just continue with the clam. Breathing in to prepare. As you breathe out, you're going to push through your hand, push through your lower leg, lift up. Breath in here, breath out and back down. Now, I just need to correct myself because I feel like I needed to bring my legs a little further back. So find where you feel that you might need to create that stability through your side. From here again, breathing in, breathing out, pushing down and lifting up through the waist. This is not all the way up, we're just keeping a straight line from our head to our knee. Holding here, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and down. Very nice. Okay, good. Next, we're going to go into a lift and a leg lift. So breathing in to prepare. As you breathe out, lifting up, same setup. Now we're going to raise that leg. Holding. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower top leg, lower bottom leg. Great. Doing good. Now that's the last piece of this one. We're going to do some leg movements in here for 10. So if you're happy to stay with me, great. If you're not, now switch over to the adductor lift, where that top leg goes over and the bottom leg is underneath and straight and lifting up very, like a millimetre up each time. Okay, with me now. Breathing in, breathing out, lifting up. Separate that top leg. And now from here, we're going to keep that pelvis and torso still as we bring the front leg forwards and back. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Great. Lowering back down. We're going to push the hands up to the side. So we've come straight up to sitting. For those that were doing the side leg lift, coming up to sitting, cross legs, and we're going to reach the side that was in contact with the ground, up and over, pushing down with the opposite hand, big reach, breathing in, breathing out, fill that space, and then we're going to do a circular action. So make that semicircle all the way around to really stretch out from where that side was working. We're going to stay on that same side now, same side coming up and over. Let's really stretch out because that's just done a little bit of work for us all there. Breath in, breath out, coming down all the way around. And then one more here, breathing in, breathing out, pushing up. This time we're just going to rotate and reach to the side. Big reach, breath in, sit bones glued down, come back facing forwards with the arm above our head, and then coming through. Good work, everybody. Now, if that felt a little bit too much in that one, we're going to go onto the other side now and do the same. There's no, it's okay for you if you want to just drop down to the lower level exercises. All right, we're going to come over to the other side, resting on the elbow. Find where you feel that you'll be able to push up onto your lower leg and onto your arm. Breathing in to prepare. As we breathe out, we're going to lift up. Take a moment, check how that feels. Lower back down. All right, so just having a sense of where that was, make the adjustment that you need. So when we're doing this, we're considering head, rib, pelvis. We're going to be in that same line, that 5 key element position that we want to consider. Okay, breathing in, breathing out, pushing up. We're going to hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and down. Everyone's doing okay, I hope. If not, just drop down to the level that you wish. Breathing in, breathing out, lifting up. We're going to separate that leg and hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower down, lower down. Last one here, we've got 10 more. Breathing in, breathing out, lifting up, lifting the leg. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lowering down. Both hands come next to each other as you push yourself up to sitting. For those doing the lower level, come up into that seated position. The side that we were just leaning on, put the opposite hand down as we reach up and over, creating that stretch through our side. Breath in here, breath out. Let's do that lovely nice reach all the way around, big circle, coming back. And again, reaching up and over, all the way around, all the way through, sit bones glued, coming back. And the next one, reaching up and over, all the way across, big reach, but this time we're just going to rotate our torso around, looking down to our fingertips. Breath in, breath out, coming back. Take a moment here to recenter, helium balloon through the top of the head. And just coming around so you're sitting side with your feet at the end of the mat. Take a moment just so your sit bones can make greater contact with the mat, so it might involve peeling away your very muscly gluteal region. Your hands are going to be wrapped around your knees. So if whilst you're in this position you're here, see if you can just come forwards from there. We are going to be moving into a mini curl down, so I won't invite a cushion in at this stage. So helium balloon to the top of the head, hands around the knees. Breathing in to prepare. As you breathe out, tuck your tailbone under as you create a mini C curve through your low back. Let your arms straighten a little bit, feel support at your knee. Breath in here. restack from pelvis up through to spine. Breathing in, breathing out, tuck, scoop, breath in, breath out, lowering back down. Have a sense of that real scooping action. Again, as we go, imagine you've got one of those vacuum sealed containers on your back and you're just scooping your lower abdominals down in towards your spine. Breathing in, breathing out, restack, roll down. And then coming back up, helium balloon at the top. So for those that are able, we're going to do a roll down all the way down to the mat. For those that want to, I don't have that support through abdominals and don't wish to, you can just pop your hands down and help yourself down to the ground. So breathing in to prepare. As you breathe out, we're going to roll down. The hands come from the knees and they can slide down the front of the thighs as you roll down onto your back. And find yourself lying on your back. Great. Take a moment here and just check in. Pelvis, ribs, skull. Are you even left to right through there? Okay. For those that have a sore neck, I'm going to just encourage you to come onto your scissors, which is that small lift of the leg up and down. But for those that are able to lift their head, we're going to come into abdo prep. Abdo prep modification, hands behind the head. So take your hands behind your head, interlace your fingers, have your elbows so that they are in the visual of your periphery. Now just take attention to your lower rib cage. This is where we really want that pivot of movement to happen. Everything above that, we're going to aim to keep that still and just moving up from that pivot point. So if you imagine the front of your rib cage is like an arch, and you're going to have a sense of that rib cage connecting together, closing the arch. Breathing in to prepare. As you breathe out, lengthen through the top of the head and have a sense of your rib cage coming together. Breath in, breath out, and lower down. The distance between your chin and your chest remains the same when you're long through the back of the neck. Really incorporate lengthening away from your torso with your head as you pivot from your lower ribs. Breathing in to prepare. As you breathe out, connecting the ribs, coming up and down. Pelvis is going to remain still here. We've got that natural movement. Keep with single legs if you need. This is not about the height of the movement. This is about, can you lift from that lower rib? So initiating from there, working the abdominals, and the head goes with you. We're not just looking at head movement here. That pitch between the chin and the chest can be quite nice. If anything, your hands are going to be supporting the head more, and it's really coming from that lower abdominal region. Great. From here, coming into rest for a moment. And then we're going to add in a hip twist level 2. So either with your knees together, your knees crossed over so the thighs are touching. Just let your knees roll side to side. We're going to go, if you've got the legs crossed over, we're going to go 3 on each side and then switch. And if you've just got your legs together, go with 6 rolls side to side, just to loosen up through the back. Once you've got your 6 done, continue to roll on that 6th one. Just separate your legs, bring them together, and roll onto your side. And we're going to come back into all fours. Just going to add a little bit of mobility through the spine here. Imagine you have a foam roller on your back so that your head, your rib, and your pelvis are remaining in that mid position. The head, eye gaze is going to be between the fingers. We're going to just start with a tilting of the pelvis forwards and back. So just have a sense of a very small movement through the pelvis. Sit bones can smile, sit bones can frown. From here, We're going to have the hands pushing in and letting that arm rotate out, shoulder rotate out, shoulder blades down. Let the rib cage lift up and then rotating the other way. Hands rotating in, let the rib cage slump or lifting up from the back. Rotating outwards, breastbone coming towards the chin, rotating inwards, rounding through the mid-back. Find where you feel like you're in the mid position. Head position now, long through the back of the neck. Take your attention to your nose, and we're just going to do the tiniest nod up and down with the nose. So we're still keeping in alignment as if we've got that rod or foam roller on our back. From here, we're going to combine these movements. So we're going to have the nose and the pubic bone as a reference. Send your nose and your pubic bone down towards your toes as you lift your breastbone towards your nose. Now changing, bring your pubic bone towards your rib cage as you take your nose away from your rib cage and let your rib cage soften towards your pelvis. So we're just going to move through those movements, a little bit like tapping your head and rubbing your tummy. If you wish, you can just stay with the pelvic movements or the little head nods or the rib movements. Otherwise, go with me. So nose and pubic bone down towards the floor, anterior tilt of the pelvis, nose coming down, rib cage coming up, and then reverse. So tuck your tailbone under, nose towards, away from the pelvis, rib cage down towards the pelvis. Take a moment there, have a little shake, drop back into child's pose for a moment. Come back up. This time in all fours, you're going to look over your right shoulder as you bring your pelvis towards your head, feeling that stretch on the left side, and then we're going to repeat to the other. So we're just kind of adding in a bit of an extra side stretch here from the work we've done. Looking over your shoulder, side to side. Even up, just a couple there. Now we're going to come into a plank position. So as you feel able, you can come onto your knees, or we can pick up onto our toes. So we're coming up into a plank position here. And then from here, breathing in, breathing out, we're going to walk our hands, knees bent in towards our feet, and just let your knees stay bent and your hands hang. Breath in here, breathing out, you're going to walk your hands back into the plank position that suits you. So that can be 4-point kneel, that can be knees down, or that can be arms straight. Straight line from your shoulders to your feet. And then from here, walking back out again, knees bent, coming through. Let that soften down. One more time here, walking forwards, coming into the plank of your preference. Holding here, and then walking back slowly, knees bent, hands to the toes. We're going to restack the spine, come up tall, tuck the tailbone under, vertebrae by vertebrae, rolling up, rounding the shoulders at the top, coming up to standing center of the mat. Good. From here, we're going to come into a mini squat, so coming down and back. Pelvis back, knees bent. Just have a check while you're doing this inside of the feet are parallel, feet are hip width apart. Coming back and holding that position of that mini squat. Just transfer the weight so you feel more weight through that left side. So now your pelvis is on top of your left ankle and your shoulder is on top of your left foot. From here, you're going to lift the heel of your right foot up and down. Check in where you're feeling this. You might need to take your weight back a little to feel it more in the glute. Now, if this is good for you, stay here for 5 more. If you wish, you're now sliding that foot to the side and back, side and back, side and back. If at any point you need to come back, you can come to here, or you can just simply stand and take a moment's break and return out and back. So staying in this bent position, hopefully you're feeling a little bit through the glute, a little bit through the knee. From here, we're now going to take that into a forwards tap, a backwards tap, an away tap, and a curtsy tap, and then come to standing. Good. Bending back down, same position. We're going to do forwards tap, side tap, back tap, curtsy tap, coming into standing. So if you feel just you want to stay with your squats, that's fine. You can stay with the heel raise on the opposite leg. Otherwise, we're going to do one more of these. So coming back, weight through that left leg. Forwards tap, side tap, back tap, curtsy tap, and come to standing. Give yourself a little bit of a shake. From here, we're going to do the same on the right side. So let's come back in, holding that position on the right side. A little bit more weight through, sense of that loading through that right side, grounding down through the right foot. And we're just going to lift that left heel up and down. If at any point you're noticing something through your back, just have a sense of where your pelvis is. Maybe you just need to adjust the movement through there. A couple more here. And as you stay here if you wish. Alternatively, we're going to come out to the side and back. Out to the side and back. Out to the side and back. One more there. Good. Holding here for a moment. If you wish, you can carry on here. Otherwise, come forward, foot forward tap, foot out to the side tap, foot back tap, foot curtsy tap. Foot comes beside, stand up. Take a moment. Happy for you to continue at any level that you wish. Otherwise, you can come with me. Sitting back, we're going to do that tap again. Side tap. Oh, I think we change it around. Front tap. Back tap, curtsy tap, coming to stand. One more here, down, weight through the right side, forwards tap, side tap, back tap, curtsy tap, and coming up to standing. Give that a little bit of a shake. From here, take your right leg and pop it across your left like a figure of four. You can hold onto the wall if you need, and you can come into a glute stretch here. So this is still that same squat position. We're not rounding through the back, we're keeping here. You should feel a nice stretch through the bent leg side. Hold for a moment, and then we'll change over. If you can do it without holding on, great. Grounding down through those 3 points of contact. All right, coming out from there, inside of your feet parallel, 3 points of contact. Hands by your side. Bend your knees, lift your heels, straighten your legs, lower your heels. Bend your knees, lift your heels, straighten your legs, lower your heels. Bend your knees, lift your heels, straighten your legs, lower the heels. Bend the knees, lift the heels, straighten the legs, lower the heels. If you wish, you can now do this on one leg with the other foot lifted. So bend the knee, lift the heel, straighten the leg, lower both heels. So you lift one heel first, then we're focusing on the leg that's there. So lift the heel, bend the knee, lift the heel, straighten the leg, lower the heel. Onto the other side if this is where you're going, otherwise stay with double leg. So from here, bend the knee, lift the heel, straighten the leg, lower both heels. Lift the opposite heel, bend the knee, lift the heel, straighten both legs, lower the heel. Give your knees a little bit of a shake. Come to the end of the mat. Take one step forwards. Interlace your fingers, reaching your fingers away from you. Bending the front knee. Keep the heel of your back leg down as you reach your hands away, feeling a stretch through your calf. Breath in here, breath out. Big circle as you step back. Step forward with the opposite leg, interlace fingers. Feeling that stretch through the calf. Pulling away. Breath in here, breath out. Release. Same on the other side. One more on each side. Big reach. Coming back around, last side, reaching, pulling back and coming into standing. All right. Inside of the feet parallel, grounding through your feet, lifting up, helium balloon all the way through the top of the head. Feel that length through your spine. Breathing in to prepare. As you breathe out, float your arms to shoulder height. Breathing in, breathing out, float both arms up to the ceiling. Breathing here, breathing out, let one arm lower down. As that lowering down happens, you're going to reach one arm up, one arm down, and gaze to that top hand as you feel able, or keeping the hands facing forwards. Breathing in, breathing out, float the lower arm all the way up to the top. Breathing in, breathing out, lower the bottom arm, the other arm down, reaching that lower arm down, gazing to the top arm. Breath in, breath out, return. From here, have a sense of your pelvis being stiller. Repeat that movement, and this time it's coming up and out of your waist as you're reaching down, feeling that movement through the rib, lifting and lowering, and then changing, coming up. Gazing as you feel able, reaching through the fingertips away from each other. Coming down. Last side. Coming down all the way, letting those arms float. Rolling of the shoulders. Take the attention back to the pelvis. Moving the pelvis forwards and back. How does that feel? Different to before? Notice anything different there? Tilting forwards and back. Bending the knee. Letting that pelvis drop to one side and the other. Coming back, sending that pelvis away, letting the rib travel the other side. Same on the other, loading up through those lateral structures. How does that feel? Check that your pelvis is level and not lifting up. Hands on the ribs, rotating the pelvis forwards on one side and then forwards on the other, coming through that rotation. How does that feel? Coming back to that mid position of the pelvis. Take a moment, take a breath. Breathing in through your nose. Breathing out through your nose. Breathing in through your nose. Slowly breathing out through your nose. See if you can lengthen that out breath. Breathing in through your nose. Breathing out through your nose. For today, I just want you to have a sense of where your pelvis is as you're moving around, and come back to the breath as you're sitting, standing, or doing things. Just take a moment to breathe in and out through your nose, and just notice, how am I breathing, rather than try and put a breath technique into place. One more breath in, one more breath out, a little shake. Good job.